Hi students, welcome to S&M Coaching Center. First chapter of Biology, class 10th, life process. We are doing the objective from two topics of that chapter, nutrition and excretion. Without further ado, let's jump into the topic. First one, all green plants are, what kind of organisms are green plants? When they use the word green plants, they prepare their own food. So all such green plants are called autotrophs. Second one, all non-green plants, they cannot make their own food. They have to depend on another organism. Hence, they are called as heterotrophs. Heterotrophs depend on dash and dash to make food. So, either you can write plants, but better use the keywords. They depend on what? They depend on plants. The keyword is autotrophs and other animals. You can write plants also, children, not a problem, but use the keywords and other animals. In place of other animals, we write other heterotrophs. The organelle of the cell, plant cell, in which photosynthesis occurs. In the plant cell, in which organelle photosynthesis takes place? No, not chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a green pigment. They are saying organelle. So, you have to write chloroplast. There is a difference. Okay, chloroplast is the cell organelle in which the green pigment chlorophyll is present. Iodine turns blue-black on reacting with what? See children, there are experiments, activities in our book, right, regarding this. So, when you put drop of iodine on a green leaf, it turns blue-black. Why? Because all the green plants, they prepare their own food and store the food in the form of starch. So, if a leaf is turning blue-black, when you put a drop of iodine, what does it mean? It contains starch. This is the confirmatory test for presence of starch. The next question. Dash is used to remove chlorophyll from a green leaf during photosynthesis experiment. Children, we have so many experiments regarding the photosynthesis process, and what do we do in all of them? We remove the green color, which is the chlorophyll, using what? Using what? We remove it using boiling alcohol. And when I say boiling alcohol, do we directly boil alcohol? No, because alcohol will catch fire easily, so we should not boil it directly. How do we boil alcohol? We keep it in a water bath. Like, take a big container. Now heat this. Now this container should contain water, and then in another small container put your alcohol. What is this? This is called as water bath. Indirect way of boiling alcohol. This is how we melt our chocolates also, right? Similar manner. Next, plants first prepare dash by photosynthesis, and then this gets converted into what? Plants first prepare, you all know, they prepare glucose. So first they prepare glucose by photosynthesis, and what is this glucose converted into? It is converted into starch. Now what is the difference between glucose and a starch? Both are carbohydrates only, but this is the simple carbohydrate and this is the complex carbohydrate. And food gets stored in the plant, extra food, in the form of starch. This is an animal whose process of obtaining food is called phagocytosis. Okay, I will explain first phagocytosis. You may tell me what is the animal or the organism. See, this is an organism which it doesn't have a fixed shape. It doesn't have a fixed shape. It can have any shape of its own. The moment it sees, and it's a unicellular organism, the moment it spots a food particle, what it will do? It will convert its cell membrane into pseudopodia, like in the form of fake hands. So, the moment it spots a food particle, it surrounds the cell membrane into pseudopodia and surrounds the food particle. Surrounds the food particle. This surrounding the food particle using a cell membrane is called phagocytosis. So you must be knowing the answer by right now. Yes, it is amoeba. Amoeba, it gets its food by the process called phagocytosis. Next one. Which is the mode of nutrition of fungi? Now, what is mode of nutrition? Mode of nutrition is nothing but to say how does a fungi gets its food. What is the mode? How does it get it? See, all this fungi, yeast, and then the mushroom that we eat, right? They all depend on all the dead and decaying plants and animals. What do you mean by decay? Things which are rotting. The bread that is rotting, okay, the fruits, vegetables which are rotting, they are called decay. All such form of nutrition, what is it called? Saprophytic nutrition. Very good, children. It is called saprophytic nutrition. So, which is the mode? Saprophytic. Saprophytic nutrition. Saprophytic is the mode of nutrition. Correct, children. The two inorganic substances used by autotrophs to make food. Now, let us understand what are inorganic substances. Inorganic substances are the substances, generally, if we were to teach the basics, we say which are the ones which do not contain carbon in them. All the compounds which do not contain carbon, but specifically inorganic compounds are all the compounds which do not contain a carbon-hydrogen bond. So, if a compound doesn't have a carbon-hydrogen bond, all such called as inorganic. However, if a compound contains a hydrogen and carbon bond, it is called as organic compound. It is called as organic compounds. Now, tell me which are the inorganic compounds that is needed? Yes, you guessed it right. It is the water, H2O, and the carbon dioxide, CO2. Light is there, even chlorophyll is there. Why can't they be the inorganic substances? See, sunlight is a form of energy, not a matter, so that is removed. And chlorophyll contains long chains of carbon hydrogens. So, chlorophyll is basically an organic substance, not inorganic. So, correct answer is hydrogen and water. Yes, the next two are simple. Which is the gas produced during photosynthesis? Guessed it right? They need carbon dioxide. And which is the gas produced as a byproduct of photosynthesis? Yes, oxygen. Why byproduct of photosynthesis? What is the main product of photosynthesis? Yes, the main product of photosynthesis is glucose. Hence, whatever is released along with the glucose, they are called as byproduct. So, oxygen is a byproduct. Now, this is important. Other than carbon dioxide and water, there are four other raw materials needed by the plant for the healthy growth, for photosynthesis. Basically, what are those? No? Yes, I know you would say, ma'am, sunlight and chlorophyll. That's why I said nutrients. Nutrients. Yes, children, note it down. They are nitrogen. They are nitrogen. These are very much needed. Nitrogen, and then iron, phosphorus, and magnesium. And magnesium. These are the raw materials needed by the plant. So, children, the next one. This controls the opening and closing of stomata. So, which controls the opening and closing of stomata? Yes, the Gourd cells. Gourd cells. Gourd cells. So, the presence or the absence of water will determine whether the stomata is closed or open. Amoeba ingests its food by using. So, what do you mean by ingest? To take inside. So, how does it consumes, takes inside the food particles? I told you in the previous fill in the blank. How does it do? It develops pseudopodia, fake hands using its membrane. So the answer is pseudo. Pseudo means fake. Podia means limbs. Pseudopodia. Now this is interesting. Dash and dash are the two plants which eat insects. So basically he is asking to give examples for carnivorous plants. If you have watched the movie Journey to the Center of the Earth movie, the first part, no, not the Dwayne Johnson one. No, not that. That is the second part. If you have watched the first part, I don't remember the characters, the actors' names. One of the characters, there the lady, when they get trapped into the cave and then they move towards the center of the earth and they start the adventure, the lady, she gets trapped by a very big plant. It tries to eat that girl, right? You remember? What is that? That is the example. That is Venus flytrap. That is Venus flytrap. And what is the another one which eats in insects? It is the pitcher plant. It is the pitcher plant. Now, why do you think the plants eat insects? Why do you think the plants eat insects or basically other organisms? Because I told you in the previous objective question that in addition to carbon dioxide and water, the plants also need nitrogen, iron and so on. Now, if the plants, they are unable to have or get nitrogen from the atmosphere, what do they do? What do they do? They eat other organisms like the insects for the nitrogen need. Examples of variegated leaves are, now first let us understand what are variegated leaves. Variegated leaves, see, in our homes we have some plants which are decorative plants. For example, money plant. If you observe carefully, the leaves, they will not be completely green. They will have patches of white. So imagine this is a leaf. This will be completely green, and there will be patches where it remains white. You must have noticed. Or there may be plants which have different colors, yellow colorish or pink colorish, streaks of yellow. Okay, all such plants other than green, all such plants are called as variegated plants. The leaves are called variegated leaves. So what are the examples? They are asking for two examples. So what and all we can give? One is, you must have heard the name crotons. Again, it's a decorative plant. One is crotons, and the best example we can find is money plant. Is money plant. Of food begins in, yes, you know, it begins in mouth. What happens in a mouth? Two kinds of digestion will take. One is the action of enzymes. Which enzyme will act on the food? Not amylase. You have to clearly say it as salivary amylase. And then what is the function of a salivary amylase? Yes, it acts on the starch present in the food. But since the food is present in the mouth for only short span of time, complete digestion of carbohydrates is not done. Then there is another kind of digestion also that will happen in mouth. What is that? Mechanical digestion, physical digestion. How? The moment we put any food in the mouth, what do? We start chewing, right? We break it into small pieces using our teeth. That is the mechanical digestion. So, digestion starts in mouth. The next one, children. Human saliva contains an enzyme which digests something in the food. So, saliva contains what? Saliva contains, yes, amylase, but you have to be very specific saying salivary amylase. Why am I stressing this part? Why am I stressing that you have to say salivary amylase? Because there is something called pancreatic amylase. Hence, you stress the word salivary. Okay, what is this amylase? Salivary amylase. What does this digest? Yes, children, you may either write the carbohydrates or the starch. Both would be right. I would say carbohydrates. Next one. This carries food from mouth to the stomach. So there is an organ in the alimentary canal or the entire digestive system which carries mouth to stomach. What is that? Yes, food pipe. Don't write food pipe. What is the keyword? Esophagus. O is silent. Esophagus. Now, what is the one speciality of this esophagus or the food pipe? Yes? Any answers? Yes. This is the only organ where the digestion doesn't take place. It just acts like a carrier. It just carries from mouth to stomach. That's all. No digestion takes place in esophagus, in the entire alimentary canal. Now the next one. This moves the food in all the digestive organs. Okay. Now I am saying the food is going from mouth to stomach, stomachs to small intestine and so on and so forth. Now, did you ever think, who is the food moving? Is somebody pushing it or does it have legs? Who is it moving? It is moving because what is this entire, if you think, what is this entire alimentary canal? These are all basically made up of muscular organs. These are all muscular organs, right? So, all these organs, if they want to move the food forward, what do? They follow a continuous rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the muscles will take place. So the contraction, the rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the muscles, what do? They propel the foot forward. What do you mean by propel? Push, move the foot forward. This rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the muscular organs, what is it known as? Peristalsis. So the peristalsis happens from the mouth. How does the food enter into our stomach? Yes, through esophagus. But in the esophagus, how does the food move? Through those contraction and relaxation movements, which are called as peristaltic movements, or here I will write as peristalsis. So in the entire alimentary canal, the food moves in the parts because of peristalsis. The gastric juice contains, yes, what does gastric juice contains? It contains, first one, HCl acid. You may write it as completely hydrochloric acid. And the next one is an enzyme called as pepsin. And the third one, what is it? It is the mucus. What is the function of HCl? HCl, it has two functions. First, it will kill whatever unwanted bacteria that has come along with the food. It will kill all those unwanted bacteria, the bad bacteria. And the second one is, because of the acid presence of acid, HCl is an acid, right? Because of the presence of acid, the entire gastric area or the stomach, it becomes acidic. Now, because of the acidic medium of the stomach, what is this pepsin? Pepsin becomes activated. Pepsin becomes activated. Now, because it is become activated, now what is it? What is that it will do? Yes, it will start the protein digestion. Pepsin will do the protein digestion. Mucus. What is the importance of mucus? Mucus is like a, it's like a thick, watery kind of liquid. What does it do? Lines the stomach, inner walls of the stomach. What is the need? See, the stomach is producing acid. Okay, it kills the bacteria, it activates the pepsin, but the acid may also act on the sensitive inner walls of the stomach and it may give rise to ulcers, wounds, right? So, in order to protect the stomach from all these ulcers, the gastric juice is also releasing mucus to prevent the side effects of acid. Next one. The digestion begins in stomach. Yes. Which digestion begins in the mouth? Carbohydrate digestion. Which digestion begins in stomach? Protein digestion with the help of pepsin. So, protein digestion. The next one, children. This is the site of complete digestion of food. See, all these questions are important. Which is the site of complete digestion? Where is the digestion? Where does it start from? Small intestine. I am giving the answers of all these important questions. So make a note of this, children. The next one, very important. Liver secretes what? Now, what does the liver secrete? It secretes a a greenish yellow liquid. Greenish yellow liquid. What is this greenish yellow liquid called as? Yes, any guesses? Yes, it is called as bile. What is it called as? It is called as bile. So basically liver produces, secretes bile. What is the function of bile? What is the function of bile? Okay, we will talk about the function of bile little later. We will fill this up. Liver secretes bile and it is stored in which organ? It is stored in a small gland called as gallbladder. It is stored in gallbladder. Now, let us come back to our bile. What is the function of bile? Bile has two functions. It is alkaline in nature because of the presence of some salts. It is alkaline in nature. Now you know from where do the digested food, partially digested food from the stomach, what is the next step it has to go? It has to go into the small intestine. When it goes into the small intestine, you know, stomach released hydrochloric acid. So the food that is coming from the stomach is in which form? Is it in acidic form? It is acidified food is coming. Now when acidified food is coming into the next organ, what will happen? The enzymes may not properly act on it. So in order to neutralize it and in order to make the enzymes work properly, bile is helpful. So bile is alkaline in nature, and what does it do? It helps to neutralize the acidic nature of the food coming from the stomach. And the next one, bile, very important question. Bile also, basic function of bile is to, it breaks down the large molecules of fat, the larger molecules of fat. So bile basically it breaks down the larger molecules of fat into smaller molecules. What is the key word for that? It is called emulsification of fats. Emulsification, I will write it below. It is called emulsification. What is emulsification? Emulsification is breaking down of larger fat molecules into smaller pieces so that they can be easily be digested. The next one. This is a large gland which lies parallel and beneath the stomach. So, in the alimentary canal, if you consider this as the stomach, just beneath the stomach and parallel to it, there is an organ which looks basically like a leaf, and it releases its secretions into the next organ, which is the small intestine. What is this organ called as? It is called as pancreas. What is it called? Pancreas. Pancreatic amylase breaks down what? Pancreatic amylase breaks down what? See, again we came across the word amylase, but this is pancreatic. So that's the reason I always stress whenever you come across the word amylase, no, make it clear whether it is salivary amylase or pancreatic amylase. But whatever is the amylase, what is the function of all the amylase? Amylase, whether it be salivary amylase or pancreatic amylase, their function is carbohydrate digestion. So this breaks down. You may write starch or carbohydrate, doesn't matter children, carbohydrate, or if there is a starch in the option, pick up starch. And then trypsin. Now, what is the function of pancreas? Pancreas, it pours in three secretions. The secretions contain, first one is pancreatic amylase, and you know pancreatic amylase helps in the digestion of carbohydrates. Next one is trypsin. Trypsin. Remember, all the amylases do carbohydrate digestion. All the words which end with sin, like pepsin, trypsin, what do? They help in protein digestion. They help in protein digestion. And the next one, the next pancreatic secretion is, one is pancreatic amylase, the next is trypsin, and the next one is lipase. Lipase help in lipid digestion. Lipids are nothing but fats. So, trypsin digests what? Trypsin digests proteins. All the sins, pepsins, trypsins, they digest proteins, and lipase, they break down lipase, like lipids. They help in the breakdown of lipids, or you write it as emulsified fats. Emulsified fats. What do you mean by emulsified fats? Emulsified fats are the smaller fat molecules which are acted upon by bile. The next one. The extra glucose is stored in the liver in the form of what? Yes, the form of glycogen. Glycogen. Okay, the next one. The end products of complete digestion of carbohydrates, proteins and fats. This is very, very important. I cannot stress how important this question is. So, after digestion, complete digestion, carbohydrates are converted into simpler sugar called as glucose. And then proteins are converted into amino acids. Proteins are converted into amino acids. And then the fats are digested into fatty acids and glycerol, fatty acids and glycerol. Very important question, children. This is often repeated, so you should know carbohydrates after digestion they are turned into glucose, proteins are converted into amino acids, and then the fats are converted into fatty acids and glycerol. The next one. This is the hardest material in the human body, more harder than the bones. So which is the hardest material in our entire human body which is harder than the bones? Yes, it is the tooth enamel. It is the tooth enamel. In teeth, which is similar to bone? Dentine, which is called dentine. Next one. The tooth enamel is made up of minerals like, yes children, yes you all know, calcium and phosphorus or phosphate. Keep watching this video children, because I will be giving you important diagrams from the nutrition topic.